Hey everybody, welcome back to Greg's Grooves. Today we're going to do part 2 of the Aiwa mini speaker series, unintentional series. Found these at the thrift shop about 2 weeks ago, and I thought they would be the perfect complement to my Aiwa HS-G350 portable cassette deck. And at the time I made the first video, I was waiting on this from Amazon. It is a stereo 3mm to mono 3mm left and right, so I could use these as a stereo pair. They are super interesting in that they each have their own individual input and their own individual DC power and their own battery compartment. So theoretically, these could be used as mono speakers. They have their own volume control and power switch. And I bought them as a pair, so someone clearly used them as a pair. What I think is super interesting is that these can be used as passive speakers, not just as powered speakers. So you don't necessarily need to put batteries in here, but I'm going to test it both ways for you guys. I picked up 8 C-cell batteries. It uses 4 C-cells a piece. I got some cassettes here. So I think the first thing to do, and I haven't used these yet, is to hook these up in passive mode. Let me get some music that's not going to violate copyright laws. I don't think Bruce Springsteen's going to do the trick for that. Let's use these in passive mode and let's see if the little headphone amp in the cassette deck can power these speakers enough to make them listenable. So stereo side goes in the headphone jack of the Walkman. I'm going to assume white is left, and we'll put that into the mono jack of the speaker. And then I'm going to assume red is right, because that would be typical. Put it in the mono jack of this speaker. Alright, let's turn the volume up here. I should have bought a longer cord, but hindsight's 20/20. We'll see what happens. Nothing so far. Not a thing. Did I turn this the wrong way? I hear hissing. Interesting. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's try something a little louder maybe, but they work. I'm getting left and right channels. It's not particularly loud, but this classical cassette is probably not that loud to begin with. I know this will probably get a copyright, but I'm only going to play it for a few seconds, so we'll probably be okay. Let's just see if this works. Oh, that's much louder. Wow, okay. That's actually, that's plenty loud, and I haven't even put the batteries in. They actually have a fairly warm sound, even in passive mode. Let's throw the batteries in and see what kind of difference that makes. So I'm just going to unhook this. So like I said, both of these take 4 C-cell batteries. You can see I don't know if they were ever used like this, because these battery compartments are super clean. Whoever had these either never used them or took really good care of them. Alright, so I got my C-cells unboxed here. 4 per speaker. And let's see what these are like in powered mode. Let's see if the little amps inside even still work. So while I'm putting these batteries in, I did a little research since the last video, and these came out in 1984, which is actually 2 years before my cassette deck. So my cassette deck is newer than these speakers, though they look of a very similar vintage. There you go. They even have these little mounting holes. You know, this is well before surround sound, but I guess you could mount these on a wall with a nail or something like that, which is a cool concept. And yeah, so there wasn't that much information on the web about these speakers. They were intended to be used with a Walkman and portable devices. So I'm kind of using them as they were intended. I think the idea would be, you know, you could bring the speakers with you, maybe to a picnic, a party, something like that. And you can have your Walkman. Oh, that's not in correctly. Let's fix that. You could have your Walkman, and you could play music for the whole party. And they're clearly a matching pair. They have the same lot number, T40312, made in Japan, Aiwa Co-Limited. Music power 3 watts, impedance 4 ohms, maximum input voltage 1 volt, battery supply, yeah, 4C batteries. Alright, so we got the batteries hooked up. Let's just see if they turn on. Oh, red light, that's a good sign. No hissing or screaming. Let me get my arm out of the way there so you could see that red light. So that's one speaker working. Let's check the other one. And this one's also working. Okay, let's hook my tape deck or portable cassette player back up. And we'll start it in passive mode, and then we'll start playing with the internal amping functions. So let's go back to the classical cassette, because I'm going to want to play this a little bit longer, I think. All right, ready? Okay, so now the volume is all the way up on the cassette deck, but I am not using any of the speaker's internal power. Let's start with the right one. Turn on the left one. Well, the internal amps still work. And I got them turned about 60% of the way up, and this is quite loud. And like I said, this classical cassette isn't even a very loud cassette. Let's put on that Bossa Nova tape again. Maybe turn it down a little bit, because I have a feeling it's going to be quite loud. Wow. So I have the volume set to halfway, and I'll tell you, that's as loud as I could play them in my apartment without getting a noise complaint. These little things are strong. They are powerful. I am kind of blown away. And they have very good clarity. I mean, obviously a little lacking in the bass. You know, boombox speakers of the mid-'80s are not known for their amazing bass. And I would say I've had a lot of boomboxes. For warmth and bass, these are as good as any boombox I've had. I'm kind of honestly blown away a little bit here. Let's try this one. Yeah, I can't play any more of that because it's going to be way too loud and I'm going to get neighbor complaints. But I am super surprised by how loud and full these sound. And you know, I'll be quite honest with you all, I bought these on a whim. They were half price and I was like, they'll make a perfect complement to my cassette deck, even just as like to my portable cassette player, even just as like a decoration. And I didn't really think I'd get any real use out of them. But I am strongly considering setting these up at my computer desk as my speakers for my computer for when I'm doing editing and things like that. What I really want to do, and I hope you'll tune back next time for this, is I want to hook up a turntable to this. I found in another thrift trip a Technics linear tracking turntable that is very much of this same aesthetic, and I'm going to see if I could get that hooked up to a phono preamp and into these speakers and play around with, you know, using these as like a home setup with a turntable, cassette deck, and see how practical it is in that application. Oh, and when you're not playing something, it seems like they turn themselves off to conserve battery, which is awesome. Don't even have to worry about that. So if you want to see that third video where I hook up a turntable to these little speakers, make sure to subscribe and hit the alarm bell so that you get the notifications. That's going to be it for this time on Greg's Grooves. Hope to see you again next time.